Hello, I'm Chris Plumb, head coach and CEO of the Carmel Swim Club. This is the Off the Deck podcast. Off the Deck champions Carmel Swim Club's mission, teaching excellence through swimming for life. To more fully meet that mission, we are constructing a new pool, the Carmel Swim Academy. Carmel Swim Academy will provide an entry point for more children in central Indiana to have access to life-saving programs. It's true. Drowning is the leading cause of injury-related death in children ages 1 to 4 and the second leading cause of death in children 5 to 9. But there is hope. Participation in formal swimming lessons can mitigate the risk of drowning by 88%. We are compelled to use our expertise in swimming to make our community safer and to ensure every child has the opportunity to learn to swim. To learn more, visit www.carmelswimacademy.org. Now let's get on with the show. Today's coaching bit, I want to talk about consistency. And for greatness to happen, it just requires being consistent. Consistency of effort, consistency of attitude, consistency of focus and discipline. And no great one workout that you do is going to make you awesome or get you to the Olympic trials. It's about showing up and doing the work day after day and being consistent. And consistent is not sexy. It doesn't sell a lot of magazines. It doesn't bring drama to the newspaper. But showing up and doing the work day in and day out, those things add up. Consistency adds up over time. It slowly accumulates. And if you want to be great at anything, the first thing you got to do is show up and just keep showing up day after day and being consistent. So urge all of you out there, be consistent in everything you do. And I think the other part of that is just like, not just in your work in the pool, but your attitude and effort towards the pool and knowing that the dreams can come and happen by doing the work day after day and being consistent. And my guest today, he knows all about consistency. He brings his passionate and he's consistent with his passion. When people talk about this guy, TJ Day, he just brings it every day. And when people speak of him, they speak and they put a big smile on their face because they know how much he cares and how much energy he brings to the pool deck. And I know he worked with me for a few years in Carmel. He's the head coach and CEO of Star Swimming. And let's bring him on the show. So, TJ, welcome to the Off the Deck podcast. How are you today?
Great, Chris. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on part of your show. So I'm very excited. I was just listening to your talk, and I just love the controllables you're talking about, attitude, effort. So,
yeah, that had really helped your golf game, right? That consistency.
Definitely attitude.
You got the attitude part down, right?
That's right.
Well, let's start first, TJ. You grew up in Indiana. You're an Indiana boy and find yourself currently in Buffalo. But when you were growing up in Indiana, was it Michigan too? Do I have that right?
Yeah, I was born in Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Kalamazoo. So kind of like on the border there, right, with Indiana? Midwestern boy through and through. Tell me, how did you find the water and your passion and love for the water?
Very interesting. There's a little age difference between my sister and my brother and I. My sister's 16 years older than me. My brother's 14 years older than me. We lived in Michigan. I was about 3 or so. We had a pool in the backyard. And the interesting thing is my mom couldn't swim. So she has a fear of the water. So she knew she had two teenagers that weren't going to watch me. They were enjoying their time, and they're teenagers. but they're being the best. And I think my sister did a really good job, but I don't know if my brother was totally engaged in what was going on with me. So I got into swim lessons and swimming, learning how to swim very early. And then I just felt a passion for it. I just enjoyed it. So.
Yeah, and I know growing up too, you played a lot of different sports. I know you played basketball, you played some golf, you played some football. But eventually you found your way to the water. What what brought you to the water at the end of the day for you?
I think it was my potential, my growth of it, where at the time, my high school junior year, I was playing varsity baseball. I played varsity football. I was really a backup in varsity football. I was more the placeholder. So it was kind of always the joke in my family is I called fire once in a double overtime game and threw the ball through the goalpost. It's my claim to fame in football, and my coach told me I was never going to play again.
Right. So I was hoping to ask this story today. So let's back up.
Okay.
It's a football game.
Yeah.
You're the placeholder for the extra point, or is this on the field goal?
Extra point, and we will win the game.
Okay.
They missed their extra point. So high school football, senior year.
So high school football, senior year, this guy makes this extra point. Your team wins the game.
Correct.
And so what happened?
Well, in my mind, it was a bad snap. So a bad snap, I felt like the ball rolled back to me in my mind. I still think to this day it was that. A lot of people tell me there was a different story, and the film doesn't lie, I feel like. But it was so the play was if anytime there's a bad snap or a breakdown play, my call is called fire, and then it goes to a pass play pretty much. So I rolled to the right. A lot of players were there, and I was like, oh, my gosh, I am dead in the water. And I played 5A football, so very similar to Carmel High School. So, me being 5'6" since I was sixth grade, a lot of guys looked pretty big at that time. And at that moment, you're trying to make a move. So then I rolled back the left side. And I'll never forget a good friend of mine, Matt Holstein, who's a baseball coach down in the Carolinas. He was lineman at the time, and he said I could have walked in the end zone. I didn't think I could walk in the end zone. And I never got to show my arm because I played baseball as well. So I was like, well, here's my chance. I'll never forget the guy I tried to throw it to. His name was Sam Jones. And I mean, the adrenaline got to me of how I coach, my passion, and I let it rip. I mean, and the ball just kept sailing. It literally kept sailing.
So did you guys get a point because you threw it through the upright?
I wish. But I can tell you this, the game went back, and we had a chance to kick a field goal in the third overtime because we stopped them, and the coach was like, we're going for it. And we scored. He put me back in. He held true.
And then you went on to swimming from that point.
Swimming on from that point. It was the end of my other sports careers. It was pretty much like, okay, it's time to retire these and focus on something that I'm actually having some success in.
That's so funny. So you thought you were going to have this Doug Flutie moment, and no Hail Mary happened for you there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a great story, and I don't think I've heard you quite tell it in that detail before. But I think when just hearing you talk about it, just that passion that you have and for the sport, now that you kind of, where did you find that in your coaching life? Like, how did you know, like that passion was there for the sport? And then when you do that, when you bring that energy to the pool deck every day, like, how do you continue to find it day after day? Like, and I know, I think at times when you're coaching, it's like, oh, here we go back to the pool. But like, you just found that extra gear each and every day. Sure.
Well, first, it's kind of interesting you say that. I think I truly found my passion when I was my second opportunity, really. My first job was a YMCA swim coach it was 6 kids in the summer league. It was a blast, but it was the USA team, and there was 30 kids on the YMCA Learn to Swim Fun Club team, and I'm like, why do they have 30? We have 6. There's a problem here. So I'm trying to recruit. I'm trying to recruit those athletes as fast as I possibly can. But my second job from that was the head coach of Vincennes University, and it was a junior college. It was interesting. I remember interviewing for the job, and I came in. I want to say 22, 21 years old, super young. I had no place of interviewing for this this opportunity, this job. And the assistant dean was like, and the athletic director was like, okay, well, here's the deal. This is a teaching position and you're not a teacher, so it's a stipend. And I'm like, okay, great. What's the stipend? They go, $3,000. And I'm like,
sign me up, I'll take it.
I was like, where do I sign? And the funny thing is, we were in December of a training we did not go on training trips. We were very low budget. They came back to school a week early from after Christmas break to kind of get back into the grind so that athletes would be ready for that last push for nationals. And it was funny. We're having a team meeting one day, and I was sitting there and I was talking to them, and I was like, I was frustrated with their passion of the love of the team and pride for the school, because I swam for that school as well. So that my pride was mostly like, I'm willing to lay down on the sword for y'all. And so I came in and I calculated everything. I was doing some numbers at home, and I'm like, I'm just going to prove to them what I'm doing this for. I'm not doing it for the paycheck. They don't know what I'm getting paid. So I wrote down on the whiteboard a big 3,000. And everybody's like, okay, well, what's that? Is that our practice today? Or, is that? And then I put a line under it and then put 0.03. And they're like, well, what's that mean? We're going to do a third of something, 3% of that, or something. I said, no, I make literally 3 cents a day. I go with recruiting, with calls, with coaching you, with doing everything we're doing. I make 3 cents a day. It's not about my paycheck. It's about my love for what this school is and my love for you guys and this team. And I think that made me realize where my heart and my drive and my, okay, no matter what the pay is, they got to know that I love them, I care about them, and I'm willing to lay down the sword for them.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, things changed drastically. But the funniest thing was a guy in the back was like, why the heck did you take this job?
What's wrong with you to be working for 3 cents a day?
Correct. I think my parents were saying the same thing.
Well, I think all of us, when we first started as coaches, get into that coaching, not really for the money. I remember I was coaching at Bloomington South, and I think my paycheck was like $2,000 or $2,500. Just do the math on trying to show up and do all this work for so minimal. But that passion starts then. You go, no, I will do this for cheap because I love to do it. And yeah, I'm 21 years old, and I'll figure out how to eat ramen noodles every night, and But I just love hearing people's beginning part when they start coaching, right? It's just so minimal. But I think over time you realize too that you can make a living if you do a great job and give your passion. You can make a life out of it, and I know you certainly have. So from Vincennes, you decided you're going to go to be a volunteer coach at Purdue and run Boilermaker. So what was that transition like for you in your life?
Well, pretty interesting because I left Vincennes YMCA really in the college team, which I was loved. But Dan Ross picked the phone up and he recruited me, called me and said, hey, I got a job. Doesn't pay very much, but I think his vision was like, right now it's the Tip White Sharks, and we're going to change the name to Boilermaker Aquatics. I think it could take off. He goes, we got about 70 athletes, and 70, I had about 35 at YMCA. So I was like, well, 70, I've gone up double. I'm making 3 times as much as I was making before. Okay, this sounds great. Let's do this. And I saw with him saying Boilermaker Aquatics behind the name that it was going to explode. And I'm just one of those people that, I think the time we've gotten to work together, the time we're friends, that I'm one of those people, I dream big, I see it, and then I'm not afraid to go for it. And if I fall on my face, I'll still go there, But the funny thing was, so there was 6 clubs in the team, and I would say 4 or 5 of my great friends at the time, they was like, do not take this job. Every coach that's gone to Tip White Sharks has not survived 2 years. that you are going to a place that you're failing. It's not, there's too many clubs in the area. It's just, and I'm like, you know what? I got backing from the head coach at Purdue University. He's going to give me an opportunity to learn from him as a volunteer coach. I mean, I just got to take a chance, I got to see where this goes. If I ever want to, make a profession out of this, I feel like it make a income where I can live and have a family and feel comfortable about what I'm doing in life. So I went there, and literally overnight it exploded. As soon as the name changed, 4 clubs dropped and merged with us. I went from going to coach 1 facility to managing 3 facilities, went from having 3 assistant coaches to like 8 assistant coaches. And it was just like overnight it exploded. And it was, I'll be honest, I was not prepared for it, but I think what helped me through that was my energy, of just like, okay, I love this. I'm going to do it. I'm very passionate. I was passionate for Purdue. I'm going to do everything I can not to fail. So.
Yeah. And, you certainly built that program, up to a place where I remember the one summer you took, I think it was like 5 or 6 boys to junior nationals. And so you built this club kind of from nowhere into this, I would say, smaller club powerhouse, right? You were never this giant team, but you were certainly maximizing your results. So how did you get to that place where like you transformed a team that maybe coaches were quitting, they're not really making it, into this kind of like renowned, like almost national power in terms of fast swimming?
Sure. I think, going back on it, there was a lot of like, I laugh because like I would say that my first 90 days there, like you look at the president, that 90 days is your big key to success. And I was like, I don't know anything.
I know nothing.
I'm like, I don't know anything. I'm on deck here with Purdue University men's team. I'm working with the distance swimmers, and I don't know anything, But that gave me incentive to take things like that Dan taught me to be a better coach. His mentoring me, that he was the one that, the key link. He introduced me to Jack Pettinger. He's taken me to the Masters where I got to walk around the golf course and pick Greg Troy's brain. Those things I feel like allowed me that opportunity to say, okay, we can be successful. And how are we going to do it? Well, first we have to build on our foundation. So I really focused on the foundation. It was an interesting situation because I didn't coach the high school kids year round because of high school. We probably had 12 different high schools that we were leaking into the club. And it was a lot of, I would say, the best part was creating relationships with those high school coaches, saying, how can I help you? I'll come and work a day on deck. I'll teach turns and starts. I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'm not going to tell you how to coach your team because I know coaching's hard. You're a full-time teacher, a full-time parent, you're a coach, but I'm here as a person that will be willing to help. Not to say I'm your mentor, not to say here's how you do it and here's how we train. And I could say there was times I failed, but I really think at one time what happened was we had some success with some athletes, and then other athletes, it was like that, once that door kind of cracked open a little bit, it was like everyone else said, well, if they can do it, I can do it, and we just kicked the door down.
Yeah. So you do a great job, and somehow you and I meet. Tell the audience here, TJ, when you first met me as head Asia group coach in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Sure.
What theme song were you singing when I walked on the pool deck there?
I was singing the Darth Vader march.
Da, da, da,
That's right. And I can just see your eyes and you're like, who is this guy? But I mean, in my personality of who I am, I mean, I'm a kid, but I have a lot of respect. But it's like one of those things. It was like, all right, this is a new guy. I'm going to give him a hard time and see what he thinks and see if he has what kind of humor is he, or is he going to be like, no way am I dealing with this guy?
Yeah. So we can, well, I telling that story because I eventually had to convince you to come to the dark side.
Oh yeah.
And to come to Carmel. And so how did we finally get you to come to Carmel? What was the thing that?
Well, I think one, it was an opportunity that I think a bigger opportunity, not just for me, but for my family at the time, and still is my family. I thought that was really important, and family's always been important to me. But it was I made a deal with you. I was like, okay, if you can offer me this and give me these opportunities, but you have to seal a deal with allowing me to play crooked stick. And you came through. You got me on crooked stick.
I'd like to thank our some of our alumni now, Mr. Zuckerman, for putting us on that course. So that's the only time I played that, and it was great. So I'm glad you made that happen because that was a great day on that golf course. So, but we'll do whatever we have to do to get the best coaches to come to Carmel. That means getting on crooked stick. So how's your golf game today?
Golf game's a little rough. I got to play a few weeks ago with a parent, good guy, and he took me to. He told me his goal this summer is to play the top 10 courses in Western New York, and he took me to one of these courses that's southern tier of Western New York, and it was a pretty sweet track, and it was a beautiful day, and it was. I can honestly say I sunk like a 17 or 18 footer to finish on par the last hole. So it keeps you coming back.
That's right. It keeps you coming back, just kind of like swimming, like that great swim that you have keeps you coming back. I know they talk about that with your swing. So we get you to come to Carmel. Yeah, I put you in charge of the boys team. And at that time, the boys team had some success, but maybe not the success that we've seen recently or today. But I attribute a lot of that success to the things that you brought. And what do you think that you saw in those guys and in this program that allowed to transform that guys team into what it is today?
Well, first, I mean, I was coming into something I felt like you and Ian had really developed something that was special going on already, and I was like, and I still use this. I say this every time I meet a new family or an athlete or someone asks me about like, what's my role? And I'm like, I always say I'm a piece of the puzzle. It's your puzzle. You're making your picture, and I think, and this is just my mind. I think, again, I was a piece of the puzzle because the culture was already set there, the mindset, the training environment, the resources, the staffing. It was just moving a piece of the puzzle to say, okay, this is your focus and your job's to worry about this situation. And I looked at it and said, okay, we're going to be a tough battle here because one, I feel like we're struggling just winning practice. It was, and I really, it was like I'll never forget like the first meeting I had with the boys team, and I said, okay, what's your goal? And they're like, we wanted to win state. I go, great. Everybody wants to win state, but how are you going to do it? And they're like, well, we're going to do this. We're going to break sectional records. We're going to break team records. And I'm like, whoa, stop. Why don't we just try to win practice? I go, what our goal needs to be is to get in front of the lanes and hold on for dear life and be willing to say, okay, we're going to fail some days and we're going to take 2 steps backwards to get 7 steps forward. And that was the thing. It was hard. It was a hard sell at first, but then I remember it was about bonding with them. It was like, okay, Thursday we're going to go play ultimate Frisbee, and I'll never forget. I mean, Ian is a technician. He's incredible. He's got. It really frustrated him when I took the boys and said, because he had the aftermath of the women's team of saying, okay, the boys need this. They're going to go play basketball and ultimate Frisbee. We got to keep training. And he and it was it was tough. And that was even tougher. I credit you for being that I always say it was like a triangle. You were on top and it was like, okay, I got to guide both these guys and allow them to be successful at what they're at.
Yeah. You talk about 2 polar opposites too.
Oh, exactly. But I mean, I'll tell you, I learned my administrative skills and things that I've learned culture come from him and you. I mean, I that's where I got better.
Yeah, but you were willing to put in the work, and the one thing I learned from you was like, you might not have always had the best workout at the time, but you sold it, right? Like you were into that. Whatever it was on that piece of paper, the kids were going to go all out in doing that, and it just like, I think it reminds you too, is like, no matter what great practice you have, if you're not into it, if you're not selling out for it, if you're not committed to it as a coach, then you're not going to get buy-in from the athletes.
Totally.
Yeah. Do you, and I think that same fever you're probably feeling now, right? Is that, that same passion for your team there in Buffalo?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's interesting because it's like, I think I always have this concept. It's like in my mind, I'm not going to let someone outcoach me today.
Yeah.
I'm going to outcoach whoever I have to outcoach every day. That's kind of, I think that's my competitiveness that I have in me, no matter what it is. If we're playing wiffle ball, if we're playing a street basketball game 3-on-3, my competitiveness is saying like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be the best that day. And if you beat me, then I'm going to shake your hand and say, man, you crushed it today. I'll be the first one to go up to one of my assistant coaches and say, you brought it today. You were awesome. They may not realize that I was trying to outcoach them that day, but that's my goal. And I think, the athletes feed off that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. So, and then, I think what's also really cool, what's happened with you is over, when COVID started over a year ago, you made a personal change in your life, and really transformed your physical part of your life, which probably also helped your mental. But walk us through. I mean, how much weight have you lost, and how do you continue to, what spurred this idea of being motivated to work out?
Yeah, no, that's thank you for recognizing that. It's been a journey. It's kind of funny. 2 weeks into COVID, I'm a social person. I'd rather talk to someone on the phone than text. All my friends rather text than call. So that's the hard part. I mean, with me even sometimes today. So it was 2 weeks in. I was mentally depressed, not physically, but just mentally, because it was like, okay, my job that's taken away from me, which I love to do. The socialism has been, where my social part that I just get to talk, and athlete walks in, how you doing today? How's school? I can't say that. I can't realize on that athlete's face, like they had a rough day in school today. Okay. They're not going to be 100%. So I've got to help them out. How can I help them? Okay. Get them through some stuff that's going to be challenging them. So, I mean, it's like you would say, I say, the vehicle swimming, I help give life skills, and I feel like I'm fortunate to do that every day. And it was gone. It was like, I'm teaching my kids how to do school. I was getting letters, emails from the kindergarten teacher saying that I need to be better.
You should be a better kindergarten teacher.
Yeah. So it was stressful. But so what I said was, okay, I'm not on social media. I'm not on Facebook. I have a Twitter account that I've had a long time, but it's mostly just so I can look at some news or updates on mostly sports. And I said, okay, I'm going to create this Instagram account, and I'm going to post a workout every day. And I'm going to try to say, in that workout, I'm going to say something positive. And I may have 3 followers. I might have 4 followers. I don't care if it's 0 followers, but at least I'm projecting who I am out to people that possibly might be interested. And it was interesting. I did it every day. I worked out every day. I mean, the first workout, it was dreadful. I mean, I barely could move. I've lost almost 40 pounds, and I've gained a lot of strength. I completed the Murph with you over Memorial Day weekend, which was awesome. Mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, a mile run. I was just thinking the workout I did yesterday was funny. I did 10 minutes of dumbbell burpees, and I got 75 in, and I just was like, where am I going? I was like, the crazy thing about this is I do it in my garage, and I started with 225 dumbbells. Nothing else. I had nothing. I was on cement. I was using empty boxes as my floor. And then slowly, how I've gotten into it, I mean, I started adding equipment, and adding things. And, my wife found someone was selling a Olympic bar during COVID. And we got it. So now I can do cleans and jerks. And so I can say, and I've continued, as soon as we got back though, I stopped really kind of posting my workouts. It doesn't mean I've stopped working out. I've set aside between 45 minutes an hour a day for myself, for my mental side. It allows me to release anything I need to release. It allows me to not stress about the everyday operations of the club. It's not stress about my family. It's still in the back of my head just because that's how I work. But it gives me some little peace of mind. And then I reset and I'm like, okay. And I think the best thing about it is it's like, okay, I felt like, and my nephew put this probably the best way. My nephew's only 6 years younger than me. And he put it this way. He goes, what TJ's done is probably saved his life. Because he was saying he put himself back into a place that he can be a good father, a good husband, longevity.
Yeah. So. Well, and I think, you've really demonstrated that transformation is possible, but it's slow. But I think it was interesting that you made it public because it kind of forced you to do the workout, would you say? Putting that out there into the world, right? Oh,
definitely. I mean, I got to credit, Rick Seaver would comment on my Instagram account, and I was like, oh, people are actually seeing this, and people are interested. And then we visited you over some time over the break, and he literally reached out to me, and he was like, look, I look forward to seeing what your workout is. It kind of motivates me. And I'm like, wow, I didn't realize that people are actually kind of interested. And then like Tom Hadley's commented, some good friends of mine that they've helped me along the path of motivation of saying, okay, I am making a difference. Sarah Beth Vaughn has said stuff, she's like, and they've come back with just great job or whatever. And that little note that sometimes they send to me was huge. That probably got me over that hump to where I was like, I don't know. I've done 3 months of this. I don't know if I can keep doing it. But then it's been over a year now.
Yeah. And I know, I put a picture of the four of us that did the Murph, and everyone was like, TJ looks jacked.
Yeah.
I think you're flexing a little bit in the picture, though.
Oh, no. That's natural.
All right. Hey, let's get into some of these questions.
Awesome.
Fast finisher, right? Some metabolic conditioning.
Beautiful.
All right. So who would you like to do a social kick with? Anybody in history?
So I thought about this because I've watched some of these and I'm like, okay, he's going to give me some of these questions. The person I would probably love the most is probably Chris Farley. We lost him too early of age. Sad. But he always, if I watched any of his bloopers, his videos, his comedy relief, it would make me cry laughing. So huge fan.
All right, Chris Farley. Yeah, you guys could do your little Chippendale.
That's right.
With Patrick Swayze. Both of them rest in peace. What song would you least like to pop up during workout?
I'm a huge 80s fan. So problem is I play a lot of 80s when I have the opportunity. It's funny. I got 3 or 4 girls and a couple guys that try to get that box before I can get it. If I get it, it's 80s. But in 80s, there were some bad 80s. Milli Vanilli, Taco, Putting on the Ritz.
Putting on the Ritz. Okay. All right. I like it. Deep end or shallow end?
Deep. I can hide down there.
All right. Go down, way low. Long warm up or short warm up?
For me, I would say longer the warm up, so then I don't have to worry about that main set later.
Okay. Are you early to the blocks or late to the blocks?
Probably too early.
Too early.
Too
yeah.
early. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. What would be your perfect IM order?
I got to get rid of the breaststroke first. But so breaststroke, fly, back, free, probably.
All right. Would you rather swim in a pool that's too cold or too warm?
Training back in the day, cold, but now I want it warm as possible. The joke is there. So the Masters coach is assistant coach for me, and she's like, "Hey, you're getting in shape. Why don't you join the Masters team?" I go, "Oh no, you don't want me. I would not be a good Masters swimmer for you." She's like, "Well, why is that?" I go, "Well, I'm that guy that kind of like tries to hide."
Oh, and lastly, what is your favorite Powerade or Gatorade color?
Old school lemon lime.
Oh, okay, that's a classic. It's like the original
too. It's got to be the powder.
The powder. You will put a little too much powder in there, I think.
Oh, yeah.
A little sweetener.
It's about 80-20.
Okay. 80-20. The floor is yours, TJ. Anything you want to say at the end here?
Yeah, no, I just, Chris, I'm very grateful for our friendship. I mean, we're family members too, but I mean, you've always been very good to me, and I challenge you, you challenge me, and I can say the challenges that you've done have made me a better coach and a better person. So I'm very grateful for that. And I give advice to anyone, find a mentor. I've got some great mentors that I still talk to this day via phone or text. And if you're a young coach and you're out there and you're thinking, okay, I know everything, trust me, I'm an older coach and I'm still not old enough, and I'm still the young coach and I don't know anything. So it's always got to be willing to learn. So, and ask for help. There's people out there that will help if you're willing to ask.
Great stuff, TJ. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good day. Good luck at trials.
Thanks.